Tell the person beside you, I am happy you are here. Now we start the day, full of happiness and thanksgiving to God. It's very good to see many of us smiling. It's a good way to start. Amen?
Amen.
My dear friends, my reflection for this Sunday, you will agree with me, I'm sure. The world that we live in is a fast and furious world. And it can also be furiously fast. You agree? Even the instant food, like instant noodles, instant coffee, and other instant things that we buy, are not even fast enough. Especially when we talk about speed. We are not so much interested in fast cars, in fast food. But we are more interested in fast internet connections, going at least 1,000 Mbps. Tama ba ako? Yes. Actually, we don't need our cars and our food to be fast and furious, but we really want our internet connections to be fast and furious. Why? Because slow internet connection is worse than no internet connection, because it is such a teaser, and we end up shouting at our cell phones and our laptops, go faster, go faster, go faster. We become impatient. It is said that before marrying someone, you should make that person use a laptop or any gadget with a slow internet connection. And then you will see and discover who that person really is. His or her character will show. But as much as speed is important, there must also be direction and purpose. Many people are going fast, but they seem to be going nowhere. In the gospel, my dear friends, we heard of the two of the disciples of Jesus who were on their way to a village called Emmaus, 7 miles, about 11 kilometers from Jerusalem. You would notice they were not in a hurry, and probably they were taking a slow, heavy walk. They were heading to Emmaus, but beyond that, it may seem to be nowhere from there. They were downcast as their hopes in Jesus were crushed by his crucifixion and death. Modern times, it was like as if their computers crashed and no recovery was possible. So with nothing left to hold on to, the only thing left is to walk away with empty minds and empty hearts. There was no hurry, no purpose, no direction. There was really nothing to look forward to. But the good news is this. Remember always this. When we are down to nothing, then Jesus can come up with something. Something we do not expect. Something that will surprise us. Misery always needs company. And indeed, Jesus came up and walked with them in their journey. And after listening to them, recounting what had happened during the last 3 days, Jesus had this to say, "Oh, how foolish you are, how slow of heart to believe all that the prophet spoke." And starting with Moses and going through all the prophets, he explained to them the passages throughout the scriptures that were about himself. Then finally, when he was with them at the table, he took bread and said a blessing. Then he broke it and handed it to them, and their eyes were open and they recognized him. You know, it's like a reflection of what we do in the celebration of the Eucharist. The same words you will hear later in our celebration. Hopefully, you will also open your eyes. We can say that for the two disciples, the journey to Emmaus was actually a journey from nothing to something. The journey of the two disciples is also very much like our journey of faith. You agree? It's like our journey of faith. In our fast and furious world, we move with such high speed that sometimes we lose our connection with God. That's why it's good to be gathered on a Sunday to slow down, to be with each other, to be in this life of Jesus family where we experience the presence of each one, but more importantly, the presence of Jesus in our lives. But my dear friends, I'd like to challenge you with these questions. Do we experience what the two disciples experienced when they met Jesus? I think it's always good for us to have that in our hearts and our minds whenever we join the Eucharist. Do we allow ourselves? Do we open not only our eyes but our hearts so that we will recognize Jesus? Do we really recognize Him in the celebration of the Eucharist? You know, I'd like to share with you this funny anecdote. There's this story of a wife who was preparing to go to church on a Sunday morning when she saw her husband in singlet and shorts and watching TV. And as she asked him why he's not preparing to go to church, the husband replied, "You know, my dear, I've been going to Mass for every Sunday for 30 long years now. And in those times, I have heard something like 1,300 sermons. But for the life of me, I cannot remember a single one of them. So I think I am wasting my time going to Mass, and the priests are also wasting their time preaching. So I decided that I am not going to church anymore." So the wife thought for a while, and then she said, "You know, honey, I have been married to you for 30 years now. In those times, I have cooked over 32,000 meals for you. But you can't even remember any one of those meals. So I think and I believe I am also wasting my time cooking for you. And you are wasting my time. So I decided I am not going to cook for you anymore." And the husband immediately got up and got dressed and went to church with his wife. Nangyayari ba yan? Mga wives dito, are your husbands with you? Yes, thanks God. So my dear brothers and sisters, most of us have been coming to church for the longest time. Some of us have been coming to church for 10 years, 20 years, 30, even more. And we have said countless prayers and received Jesus, Holy Communion, till we have lost count already. How many times? Do we think we are wasting our time? Is it doing us any good? Do we think that coming to Mass is boring and useless? I don't think so for many of us here. But we may want a fast and furious result. But like the disciples, they had to walk that slow 7-mile journey with Jesus. And slowly but surely come to understand the scriptures before they finally recognize Jesus at the breaking of the bread. That's why, my dear friends, in every Eucharist, we reenact that Easter Sunday at Emmaus, and Jesus reveals himself to us in our journey. He speaks to our hearts in the scriptures, then at the table of the altar in the person of the priest, he breaks the bread. And the disciples beg him, "Stay with us, Jesus." I hope you will also say that when later you will receive communion. Tell Jesus, "Stay with me, Jesus." Maybe he has vanished from our sight, the Eucharist, even at Emmaus, but we know Jesus in the breaking of the bread. So we too need to be patient as Jesus sows the seeds of his word in our hearts, and to wait for the harvest so that each one of us will also be true disciples of Jesus. So let us not be afraid of moving slowly, but rather be afraid of not moving at all. With Jesus, we will walk slowly forward, but we'll never walk backwards. And may our eyes be open to see Jesus with us. And also, don't forget, Jesus with others. Finally, my dear brothers and sisters, are we willing to welcome Jesus in our life? Do we realize that Jesus fulfills his promise to be with us till the end of time, where he will accompany us, guide us with his word, and give us his flesh and blood anew in the Eucharist as our strength and consolation? May our disposition be like that of the disciples of Emmaus. Stay with us, Lord, for without you, our life is empty and meaningless. With you, we walk in darkness. Without you, we work in darkness and despair. But with you, who are our life and our joy, with your word and real presence, with us and within us and with our friends, our life is filled with joy, and our hearts are burning from within. God bless all of us.